Hey folks, how you doing? It's Richard from Bikepacking Adventures, continuing with my Vlogmas. Vlogmas basically is I'm vlogging all the way through the month of December up until Christmas. It's a bit of a challenge the boss at work gave me. Doing alright so far. It's the 13th of December, and what I'd like to talk to you about today is my experiences of being a cyclist for nearly 10 years now, and how it's affected my driving. So hopefully the title of the video will give you a clue as what I'm going to be talking about today. It's going to be things I do differently now as a driver, having experienced being a vulnerable road user here in the UK. But first, before I'm going to go into my top 5 kind of reasons, things that I've changed, I'm going to talk about a little bit briefly about my past up until this point. So I've been cycling for about 9 years now, and when it comes to driving behind the wheel, like many people here in the UK, I do have a bit of a record of getting, speeding points and fines and things like that. So by no means am I a model citizen. By changing, my driving certainly changed a lot since I started riding a bike. So as you can see, I've got my laptop here. I just want to do this properly rather than miss anything off. So if it feels like I'm reading off screen, it's because I am. So we're going to jump straight into this with number 1. Things I do differently now, having experience being a vulnerable road user. Number 1. So the first thing on here, and I didn't put many notes in it because I thought I'd just kind of make this up as I go along kind of thing, is I pay more attention to what goes on in the highway code and news in general, especially towards infrastructure being built and things like that in my local area and a little bit farther afield. So yeah, I'm more aware of what goes around me and how things are not or are changing in my local area. So yeah, being aware of what's going on and not just roads and no other forms of traffic kind of thing. So that's my first one. So things I do differently now as a driver, having experience being a vulnerable road user. Number 2. It's quite a mouthful. So when I see a speed limit denoting a lower speed limit, and I'll adjust my speed this side of the sign, unlike so many drivers see on the roads who only ease off at the sign itself. And the same is true when the limit increases going out of a town or village. I only adjust my speed at the sign, ignoring all vehicles behind me tailgating me. And when I say all, I literally mean all. If you drive like this, you'll know exactly what I mean. A huge chunk of British motorists need to retake their driving tests as well, I firmly believe. And standards are disgraceful. I don't know whether it should be 10, 15, 20 years or something like that. Standards of driving in the UK are absolutely atrocious. Every day you see something going on. People just got no patience, and common sense does not seem to be a thing behind the wheel anymore. Number 3. So although my van doesn't have cruise control, I recommend anyone who has it to use it. In my previous vehicle, which was a car, I would use it all the time in 30-mile-per-hour zones, and anything above that. People make excuses all the time, like the car cannot stick in that gear effectively. Yes, it can. Choose a lower gear, there's your problem solved if that really is a problem, which is not. But it revs really high. It wastes more fuel. Bullshit. Just get your car into perhaps the gear just below it. Stick yourself in cruise control. Not only will you drive around on the roads more safely and be more aware of your surroundings, you actually save fuel as well. Okay, number 4. Don't let the traffic behind you dictate your speed. Don't be a sheep, be the shepherd. Ordinary people are not going to get out their vehicle at the next set of traffic lights and give you a mouthful for delay them for a few seconds. Unlike, for instance, if you was on a bike doing the same thing. You are in control of the traffic flow, making the space around you and making you and the people around you and the vehicle safe. Drive the way you wish to, by that I mean safely, you don't have to join the rush hour. Okay, number 5. Things I do differently now as a driver, having experience being a vulnerable road user. When you do need to pass a cyclist, just cross over entirely into the opposite lane. Obviously, when there's nothing coming the other way, it's not difficult. And the thing I do now is when I see parked cars, I don't squeeze or force my way through. Even when the cars are parked on half on the pavement, I hold back, stop if I have to, pretending the vehicle is parked correctly, and give it a wide berth. Because pavement parking is inconsiderate, can very rarely be justified. And incidentally, here's a question for you. Did you know, in the last couple of weeks, pavement parking is now banned in Scotland? So hopefully, fingers crossed, here in England we can actually maybe one day join a civilised country like Scotland and introduce this law as well. But just like the 20-mile-per-hour zones in Wales, I'm not holding my breath in it. That coming to England anytime soon, but you never know. So finally, I just want to finish on a 6th point. 6th thing I do differently now as a driver, having experience being a vulnerable road user. I don't moan about the price of petrol. I'm paying for the convenience of getting from A to B. I can cycle to work some days, or cycle part of the day, part of the way, when the weather is bad, or this time of year, when the days are short and it's been a bit depressing outside. Having said that, I do appreciate the frustrations that some people have when they generally do not have a viable alternative to drive to work or supermarket or what have you. But I also understand that a sizable portion of the population are just too bone idle. There is of course a significantly bigger portion of the population that believes cycling infrastructure is not safe in this country. And just going away from notes just here for a moment, there's also a sizable portion of the population that doesn't have access to reliable, frequent public transport, buses, coaches, rail, trams, that kind of thing. But in terms of the cycling infrastructure, there's a lot of people, I think I just said it then, there's a lot of people that don't believe cycling infrastructure in particular is safe, direct and well maintained. And on that last point, it's incredibly hard to argue with that point of view when we know that to be how it is here in the UK. So there we have it. My 5 top reasons, my top things I do differently now as a driver, having experience being a vulnerable road user, and a bonus there. So yeah, if you've got any thoughts on this particular video, either as a driver, a cyclist, or both, then do hit me up down below, and I'd love to read those back and maybe read out a few in a future video if I find them at all helpful. Right, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.